Good morning student. I am Miss Seema Patel. Today we will see topic about the oligohydramnios. Okay, oligohydramnios, that means the lacking of the amniotic fluid. Okay, so before proceeding towards topic, I would like to tell something about the amniotic fluid. So normal amniotic fluid, the volume of the amniotic fluid is around 12 weeks it will be 50 ml, around 20 weeks it will be 400 ml, and between the 36 to 38 weeks it will be 1 liter. And after the 38th week of gestation, the amniotic fluid level will be around 500 to 800 ml, because after the 38th week of gestation the baby or the fetus is completely or fully developed. Okay, so at that time the baby will absorb more and more amniotic fluid. That's why there is lacking of amniotic fluid is present inside the uterine cavity. The next is production of amniotic fluid. The production of amniotic fluid is by fetal urine, fetal lung secretions, oral nasal secretions. Okay, so this all are help in production of the amniotic fluid. And then clearance of amniotic fluid is occurs by the fetal swallowing. Okay, fetal will absorb the amniotic fluid by fetal swallowing, and the intramembranous transfer, there is transfer of amniotic fluid is present in between the membranes. So by that the amniotic fluid will be cleared out. Then amniotic fluid index, the normal amniotic fluid index is between the 8 to 24 centimeter, that is a normal range. Then next is topic, oligohydramnios. It is defined as reduced amniotic fluid volume of less than 200 ml at term, or amniotic fluid index less than 5 centimeter at 28 to 40 weeks of gestation. So in the oligohydramnios condition, what happened? The amniotic fluid volume will be reduced, and that will be less than 200 ml at term, and the amniotic fluid index, the normal amniotic fluid index is between the 8 to 24 centimeter, but in that condition, in oligohydramnios condition, the amniotic fluid index will be less than 5 centimeter and between the 28 to 40 week of gestation. So this is the definition of oligohydramnios. The next is causes. In that maternal conditions, first one, hypertensive disorders. Okay, in the hypertensive disorder there is the interference with the proper blood circulation. Okay, means there will be no any proper blood circulation from the mother to the placenta. Okay, so that's why it will create difficulty, and impairment is caused in the production of the amniotic fluid, and that will lead to the oligohydramnios condition. Then second is uteroplacental insufficiency. In that condition also there will be lack of supply of blood and the oxygen to the placenta by the uterus, so it will create difficulty in production of the amniotic fluid. Then third is dehydration. Dehydration means if the woman having the dehydration, if she is not taking adequate amount of fluid or water, then it will also create the oligohydramnios condition. Then idiopathic means some causes or the most of the causes of oligohydramnios condition, that is idiopathic or the unknown. And the post-term pregnancy, that means if the pregnancy or the gestational week is more than 42 week of gestation, so in that condition what happened? Macrosomic baby will be present. Macrosomic, okay, so the baby will absorb more and more amniotic fluid, so it will create the lack of amniotic fluid inside the amniotic sac. The next is pre-labor or premature rupture of the membrane. If the membrane is ruptured prematurely, means before the 37 week of gestation, then it will also create the leaking out of the amniotic fluid, and it will lead to the condition oligohydramnios. So these all are the maternal condition causes. The next is fetal conditions. In the fetal, first is renal agenesis. Renal agenesis, that means the missing of one or both kidneys. So if the one or both kidneys missing in the fetus, so it will create the production of urine, means it will interfere with the fetal diuresis, so that the amniotic fluid level will be decreased. The next is urinary tract obstruction. If there is any urinary tract obstruction present in fetus, so it will also create or inhibit the fetal diuresis, so that the amniotic fluid volume will be reduced. Then spontaneous rupture of the membrane. Spontaneous rupture of the membranes due to any causes or due to any injury. Spontaneously, if the membrane is ruptured, so more and more amniotic fluid will be released or the leaking out. The next is intrauterine infection. If any kind of infection is present inside the intrauterine area, so it will also create or cause pressure on the membrane and lead to the oligohydramnios condition. Then IUGR, that means intrauterine growth restriction. If the baby is in the condition of IUGR, so in that condition what happened? The baby will not properly the baby is not able to do proper urination, or fetal diuresis will be absent, and that will lead to the oligohydramnios. Then the drugs like the prostaglandin inhibitors and the ACE inhibitors. These all drugs create the or causes the fetal renal damage, means that both drugs can affect the function of the kidney or the renal. So it will create the lack of amniotic fluid. And then fetal chromosomal and structural abnormalities. If in the fetus any type of chromosomal disorders like triploidy or polyploidy, so that will also affect the condition. And then amnion nodosum. Amnion nodosum, that means the nodules found in amnion and cause the rupture of the membrane. Means if any kind of nodules is present in the amnion, then it will affect or cause the rupture of the membrane, so amniotic fluid will be leaking out. So these all are condition, means fetal condition, which is causing the oligohydramnios condition. So these all are about the causes or the etiology. The next we will see clinical features. In the clinical features, first one is smaller uterine size. When you will palpate or when you will observe the maternal uterine, okay, so that will be small because of the lacking of amniotic fluid inside the amniotic sac. Then next is less fetal movements. There will be no any movements or lack of movement is present in the fetus, and the uterus is full of fetus because of lacking of amniotic fluid. When you will palpate the uterus, you will find the full of fetus. Means in the completely abdominal area you can able to feel all the parts of the fetus. The next is malpresentation. Because of lacking of amniotic fluid, the baby's presentation will be rotate, or it will cause the malpresentation like the disc presentation or the compound presentation, or any other other presentation like the face presentation, brow presentation, like that. The next is evidences of IUGR. In that condition you will also find out the condition of IUGR, means the baby's growth is not properly developed, okay. So these all are the clinical features of oligohydramnios. The next is diagnosis. So in that diagnosis, first is the history. So whenever the patient with the oligohydramnios is admitted in the hospital, so being a nurse, it's our primary responsibility to take history from the mother. So in that history, what we'll ask, first one, watery or the blood stained vaginal discharge. We'll ask the woman whether any discharge is present like watery or the blood stained through the vagina. Then it will also helps us to find the diagnosis or the etiology or the causes. Means because of that only oligohydramnios condition is arises like that. The next is hypertension. As I previously told you that hypertension condition or the preeclampsia, in both condition what happen, it interferes with the proper blood circulation, and that will lead to the oligohydramnios condition. The next is pregestational hypertension. We'll ask the women if any kind of hypertensive disorder is present before the pregnancy or pregestational time, so it will also important factor. And then APLA syndrome, that means the antiphospholipid syndrome, and that syndrome will cause the blood clotting in the blood vessels of the membrane. Okay, means whatever the blood membranes are present inside the uterine cavity or the membrane, so in that it will cause the blood clotting. So proper secretions from the membrane is not possible, and that condition will lead to the oligohydramnios. So we should have to take proper history about that syndrome also. The next is family history. We should have to take proper family history like congenital anomalies, okay, or the chromosomal abnormalities, or the in the previous baby if any type of condition is present or not. The next is medications, like if any medications are running for the treatment, like the PG inhibitors or the AC inhibitors, because that all are drugs which are causing the damage of the fetal renal. Okay, so this kind of history we should have to take from the mothers. The next is physical examination. In the physical examination, first is small uterine size. If the size of the uterus means whenever you are doing the physical examination in the women, so you will find the small uterine size because of the lacking of amniotic fluid. Then second is less fetal movements. There will be no any or the lack of movement present, as I previously told you in the clinical features. And then uterus is full of fetus. You can able to palpate all the parts of the fetus. And then malpresentation, okay, malrotation, malpresentation will be present in that condition, like the breast presentation or the face presentation. And then IUGR, the baby's growth will be completely restricted. You will find that by the physical examination. And then ultrasonography. In the ultrasonography, the amniotic fluid index will be less than 5 centimeter. And then speculum examination. Whenever you will do the speculum examination, that time you will find the watery vaginal discharge. So that will also helps to find out the actual reason behind the oligohydramnios condition. Okay. Then next we will see the complications. So in the complications, the maternal complications are first one, prolonged labor due to the inertia. Okay, means at that condition what happened, inertia means lack of uterine contraction, so that will create the prolonged labor, means the duration of the labor will be more than the normal labor process. Then second is increased operative interference due to the malpresentation, means if in that condition, if in any kind of malpresentation is present, like the breast presentation or the face presentation, so that will increase the chances to do the operative interference, like the lower segment cesarean section, okay, or the instrumental delivery. The next is chorioamnionitis. Chorioamnionitis, that is a condition in that inflammation of the amnion and the chorion, okay, that is present, or the inflammation of the fetal membranes, you can say. So that will be also one kind of complications related to the oligohydramnios condition. Then in the fetal, due to the etiology, first one is the congenital anomalies. Any kind of anomalies can be present, congenital anomalies, whether it is structural or whether it is genetical. The next is chromosomal abnormalities, that is also important complications present in the fetus. And then fetal growth restriction, okay, because of lacking of amniotic fluid, the fetal growth will be not properly occurs. Then IUD, sometimes it will lead to the intrauterine death condition, okay, because of lack of amniotic fluid, the baby can't able to proper swallowing, okay, so it will also affect fetus heart or the lungs, okay, and the baby will die, and it will create to the intrauterine death condition. Then intrauterine infection following the rupture of membrane, okay, when the rupture of membrane is present before the completion of the term or before the completion of 37th week of gestation, so that will lead to the further infection, and that infection will lead to the intrauterine infection. The next is prematurity. Prematurity, that means the baby will be delivered before the completion of the term, before the completion of 37 to 38 week of gestation. So these all are the complications present in the fetus. The next is due to the reduced amniotic fluid volume, what happened? First is skeletal deformity, means any kind of skeletal deformity will be happen with the fetus. Then contractures, that means the permanent tightening of the tissue, okay, that will be also present. Then amniotic bands and the auto amputation. amniotic bands, that means the bands become wrapped around the digit or the fingers or the toes, means bands that is present in between the finger or toes. So the fingers of the toes of the baby, that will be jointly. So in that condition it can result the amputation. We need to do the amputation because of that, because in that extra digit or extra finger will be present. So that is also one kind of complications. The next is pulmonary hypoplasia. Pulmonary hypoplasia, that means the incomplete development of lungs due to the low number or the size of bronchopulmonary segment or the alveoli. Okay, so in that that is also cause the complications. Then umbilical cord compression, because of lacking of amniotic fluid, the umbilical cord will be compressed. The next is meconium aspiration. In that condition, it will be more chances to get aspiration of the meconium by the fetus. And then fetal heart rate abnormality. There will be abnormality in the fetus heart rate will be present. It will be accelerated or it will be deaccelerated. Both condition will occur. And then low Apgar score. When you will take the or find the Apgar scoring, that will be below the normal range. And then intrapartum death. Sometimes it will cause the intrapartum death, means the during the labor time the baby will die. So these all are the complications of the amniotic lack of amniotic fluid or the oligohydramnios.